Shall I get to what we've been waiting for all along? Already? Yes? No? Is that yes? It's a yes, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and let me come this side. Real quick, real quick. Hi. Right. Fireboy,
Hello.
welcome to the Pearl of Africa.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know it's not your first time here. What's it like being here for the second time? Is it any different or
It's
do you
actually
feel
my
different
first time.
vibes?
It's actually my first time here.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's actually my first time here.
Well, then again, let me ask. What's it feel like to be in the Pearl of Africa?
It's beautiful. It's not my first time in the east of Africa or African, but
Yeah.
my first time here, and it's been a long time coming. Like she rightly said, Uganda has been showing me love ever since I broke out. I know, and it's only right. I'm really excited to finally get the chance to be here and reciprocate that love to the fans. By performing to them the music they've been listening to the past 3-4 years. I'm just looking forward to having fun with the fans.
Yeah, that sounds really good. You definitely have really big fans out here. I just want to put it out there. I coined myself, since I heard you were coming here, I coined myself Fire Girl on purpose because, that's what we do. So, hey, Fire Boy, meet Fire Girl.
Well, you're not to bust you, but we're not the only fire girl out there.
Well, I figured that would be the case. There's a whole bunch of girls that like to be Fire Girls, right? But let me come to your music a bit, right? I love the fact that you're coming from Africa, but you're going out into the world. Rather let me ask this, did you ever think that your music, your brand as Fireboy would go as far as it has and as wide as it has, not only in Africa, but also just globally all around the world?
Well, I started out as the basic Afrobeat artist. Took me a while to find my sound. I was pretty much doing what pretty much everyone else was doing at the time. And when I found my sound, I knew that I had the chance to, go global. But that was not the focus at the time. I just really wanted people to listen to me. And, I focused on making good music. And when you do that and you become successful and people listen, your music spreads, and that's how you go global, that's how you go international. And then there became the need to push not just the sound, but the culture out there too. And that's why, collaborations like the one with Ed Sheeran were very important and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to be honest, that was not the main goal. I just really wanted people to listen to me.
Yeah, you just wanted people to listen. You're quite a creative, right? I mean, fashionably, like art-wise and all of that. How much of your creativity is directed just to your music, or is creativity for you just an overall thing? What I'm basically asking you is, if you were to describe your creative process, what is that like?
I like to think I'm an all-round creative because my life doesn't revolve just around music alone. I really love solitude. I read books. I write poetry sometimes when I'm bored. But yeah, it's music most of the time, to be honest. And that's where I really feel safe. That's where I feel like myself, when I'm making music, when I'm creating. And it's only one thing at the back of my mind when I'm making a song, to be intentional about, what I'm writing about and how I want people to feel when they listen to my music. So I think that kind of really drives my creative process.
Yeah. One last question. I'm going to come back to you. We have a whole bunch of things to ask. From your previous album, and your debut album in 2019 to your second album, it's just been a whirlwind. How do you think you've grown as an artist?
Oh, well, not just as an artist, as a person too. I think that's really important. That's what most artists fail to recognize. They only focus on their growth as artists and not as human beings. And I always like to interpolate both when I'm in my zone. Like I said, every album is a different version of me. The first album was that young boyish, young naive boy who was falling in love and liking people and new to the fame and all that stuff. And Apollo, the second album, was more of a man. I decided to be more expressive and tell my own stories because my first album were not my stories per se, they were other people's stories. And then my third album I'm working on is very it's out of the box. It's carefree. It's a different mind space. It just shows that my growth as a person, not just as an artist.
Absolutely.
I want people to see that.
Absolutely. I love that. I'm quickly going to jump this side. And
Uh,
and why should they?
like we've been doing with the master help of Malembe team, which they are my prime partners. But we've done a lot of stuff, and Nest Radio and MBS, Guinness brand, which is huge. So I think they have done quite a lot to put this show in a very successful state. So it's going to be massive tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Can I get back to Fireboy?
Yes, go
Is
ahead.
that okay? Here we go. So I wanted to ask you a question. Musically speaking, right? What really inspires you to write the music the way you write it, and to also basically produce the music that you're producing?
Well, when I started out, I noticed that Afrobeats is usually known for the vibes, percussion. It's very happy music. It's groovy, and like I said, I found myself lost in the old groove. I was doing what everyone else was doing,
Yeah.
and I realized that how can I stand out? So I decided to focus more on my lyrics, use a very intentional and deliberate choice of words, and that's what I focus on when I write. Even when I'm writing other genres like R&B and pop, I like to infuse elements of my culture, elements of my roots in it, so you can know that, oh, this is R&B, this is not Afrobeats, but this is an African singing. So that's usually what I hope to achieve when I'm writing.
I heard through the grapevine that you could have been a professor right now, dude. But
well.
instead, we're talking music, and we're talking just making such an impact in Africa. When did you realize you had to go all out for just the music?
I think it was in my second year in uni. I was a grade A student, by the way, until I found purpose, like I always say. And when you find purpose, it kind of shifts your focus away from every other thing in your life, and just puts your focus on one thing. And that's literally what happened. And I realized that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So it was easy to make a decision and say, you know what, no more professor, scholar dreams. Let's just focus on this music and do it. And I'm glad I did.
So I noticed the timeline in which you were able to achieve what you've been able to achieve. How has this shocked you? Has this surprised you? Or how are you processing crazy amount of fame? How are you processing that? I mean, how do you know who to keep close, who to keep far away?
And that's never been a problem for me. I don't have many friends. Even before the fame, I've always been... I've always been very reclusive, always kept to myself. I prefer words to people. So that's never been a problem for me.
Yeah.
But, fame can still mess you up, even if you are a loner. So I always try to make sure that I protect my energy. Whenever I go out, and see too many people and greet many people and relate and engage with people, I come back home, detox.
Yeah.
And do the things I love doing. Do human things. Go for a drive myself. Read books.
Oh, you drive
write
yourself?
silly poems.
Wow.
Yeah, things that remind me that I'm human. I always make sure I do them regularly.
I love
that keeps me
that.
grounded.
Yeah. Random, so random. Let me ask you a very random question. If the world were to end right now, right, and you could eat only one meal for the rest of your life, because the world is ending, what meal would you eat?
Well, it's my local food, of course. It's eba and
Okra.
and egusi soup with goat meat.
With goat's meat.
Yeah. Maybe a bottle of Guinness to go with it.
That's a really good one. Okay. One more thing. Have you tasted any of the local food?
Well, I just got in last night, so I haven't really had time.
So you haven't had a chance?
Yeah.
Should I tell you what to have?
I love African food. I'm very conservative with food, so I love African food. So it's never going to be a
You
problem for
should
me.
try a thing they call Rolex.
Rolex?
Yeah, like the watch.
It's an actual food.
It is actual food. I'm gonna call up my friend. He's got a couple of questions.